The following podcast is for mature listeners. Although looked at in a light-hearted manner, some content may be graphic and gruesome. Also, due to the host's complete lack of maturity, those easily offended will probably be offended. Hold on to your butts.
You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I mean, we're recording a little later than we had originally planned. There were some hiccups. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. We can talk about the fact that I was vandalized.
Vandalized?
Like a thief in the night, literally.
You're taken advantage of.
Someone held me down and took my personal belongings.
Yeah, so they got your gym bag, huh? Of all things.
Yeah, they took. Well, they took.
So what happened? Let's start from the beginning. You come outside, right? Because we're talking, we're texting. Hey, everything's good. We're still going to record. Yeah, everything's good.
Hey,
and then I get a text a couple minutes later.
7:30 in the morning. I'm ready to go. I was like, hey, let me go grab some coffee and we can do the damn thing.
Right.
I go out to my car and I noticed that everything's disheveled, if you will, and. I immediately have this sinking feeling in my stomach, and I'm like, I know what just happened.
Oh yeah, you know what happened.
I travel during the week for work, so I must.
No, hold on, time out. Can we just, to be fair, how many times have I told you not to live there?
Does a baker's
where you live?
Does a baker's dozen? Is that a tangible amount of times?
So I just want to make clear before this story proceeds that your good friend, me.
Paul
has warned
Breen
you
Jr.
that you're making terrible life decisions.
Well, this kind of cemented, or actually put the nail in the coffin of me living in the city of Wilmington, because as of May 1st, I will no longer be living in the city of Wilmington, Delaware.
Whoa! Breaking news!
I will be residing in the great city of Manayunk, Pennsylvania.
I don't know enough about Manayunk to decide whether or not that's.
There's a lot of great breweries, and there's going to be plenty of space for you to come over and hang out.
All right, I like it.
But yeah, so I go out to my vehicle. I notice everything is disheveled.
Now, did they break a window?
You'd think that, but so like I said, I mentioned earlier, I travel during the week for work, and bringing in like my bag and like work documents, my laptop, a bunch of product and whatnot. I somehow along the way forgot to lock my car.
Oh, so this is on you.
This is 100% on me. And that's why I can't be that mad about it. So
but you can still be mad about
I'm
it.
mad,
it's still the most fucked up thing. It's probably, listen, they were going to get that gym bag one way or another. So it's probably better that you had the doors unlocked and they didn't have to do it the hard way. You know what I mean?
So, because, I mean, this is a company vehicle we're talking about.
Yeah, right. You don't want that window broken.
That's exactly.
You got to explain.
So, I had, change. And then I had a pair of Beats headphones stolen. And then I had a Nike gym bag full of gym equipment that,
So you're telling me that these animals got away with not only your Beats headphones, but also your workout gear, your jorts, and your No Fear tank top?
I wish it was just a pair of jorts. So most people are like, what could you really what could you really have in a workout bag? Mm-hmm. Workout equipment is not cheap.
No.
Not protective
in
gear
today's economy?
For your knees, your wrists, things for your elbows and shoulders, like that stuff, especially when you lift more than your normal person.
And you're in serious training mode, right?
Yeah.
You're getting ready for a powerlifting competition.
It's not cheap. So I kind of counted everything up. It was right around $500 worth of equipment.
Damn. That's rough.
But what's funny is that I work for a lighting company that sells LED lighting for fleets and wholesaling dealers and stuff like that. They left all the work product I have, and it was vastly more expensive than what I had in my gym bag. But because my gym bag had that Nike swoosh on it, they decided to
That's
steal
all. It's yeah, right. It lit up the night sky, that Nike swoosh.
Exactly.
Where your lights didn't. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
It's okay. You know what? It's okay. Because you know what? They didn't steal the vehicle.
That's good.
I'm not personally injured, so I just gotta kind of look at the bright side. I just gotta make sure to lock my fucking car and not.
You're emotionally injured.
I think at this point in my life, I have irreparable emotional damage. So this is just like, hey man, throw another one on the pile.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're talking. This is part 2 of the worst ways to die.
Let's get probably down terrible, with the serious
that's a terrible
shit
way
here, Paul. This is part 2. The mashed potato boy, and the cranberry kid. We're talking about people dying and the severe ways they can die. Let's get on some
one of the
serious
most severe. One of the
note.
most severe ways is going to be whoever opens that fucking gym bag first and catches a whiff of whatever's in there. That's going to put them on their ass. You know what I mean?
Straight up vinegar balls. Like nobody wants
that. Yeah. So we are going through this list. We are keeping tabs. I think that the runaway clear winner of the worst way to die from the last episode was scaphism. Scaphism has changed my life and the way that I think about the universe.
Quick notes. Just so you know, so you're aware, lobsters do in fact have blood, and the color of their blood is blue because it's not.
You're gonna bring this bullshit?
Yo,
to the
I'm just
table,
hitting you with
Jake?
some science. Look, I have a couple friends that are listeners
who went out of their way
to
fucking prove me wrong.
I'm just saying, I got an anonymous tip. I also got another tip from a close friend of mine who's a longtime listener, said some of the ways we talked about of dying were pretty fucking lame, aka the particle accelerator. So if we could not talk about any nerdy shit like that in this episode, that would be fantastic.
I don't think... Yeah, okay, so I think that is probably going to be the nerdiest of all the ways on the list. I'm looking it up. Lobsters do have blue blood.
See?
But it's not like blood. It's like fucking... It's like a weird, like, liquid.
You do realize that our blood is blue before it's oxygenated, right?
I think that's an urban myth.
Look it up, Paul.
All right, look, I don't care about blood anymore.
I don't care about blood. I'm not a vampire. Why should I care?
Let's talk about the absence of liquid. Let's talk about becoming severely
I like that
dehydrated.
segue. Let's
like
talk
that?
about dehydration, people.
I'm getting good at this. Listen, hydrating your body is one of the most important things you can do. If you're an athlete or you're an athlete, you want to make
if you're an athlete
that you
or
stay hydrated.
An athlete. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Jake, what happens if you don't drink any water for a really long time, for like 6 days?
Well, your body starts to pull water from other parts of your other major organs, and you literally start to begin a living, suffering cycle where your body is just in a constant state of pain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No, you're right. So yeah, the body is going to get its water one way or the other. It's going to pull it from...
By hook or by crook, baby girl.
It's going to pull it from all your vital organs. Most importantly, to you, your liver, because once the liver cannot function, your body can't break down toxins in your blood. And you're basically going to be poisoned by your own body. And it's going to be horrible. It's painful. Very painful.
Nobody wants that.
Nope. So that's dehydration. Worse than scaphism? I don't think so.
I mean, what's really kind of upsetting about being dehydrated is that your body... You
get a wicked headache.
Well, besides the wicked headache, because we've all been there. Be it like if you have a severe hangover,
right?
But towards the end of the dehydration cycle, when you start to ultimately shut down, your body starts to go into a state of confusion, and you forget how to do basic motor functions. Like, you forget how to pee, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because your brain starts to break down.
Exactly, because your brain doesn't have
liquids from your brain.
Anything. Yeah, you're essentially, like, I guess you could say you're almost smothering your brain because you're not allowing it to have any type of lubricity.
Yeah, drink some fucking Gatorade, dude.
Yeah.
Get some electrolytes.
Get some fucking sports drink in you.
Don't do this to your brain.
As I'm sitting here drinking a beer, by the way.
Well, there's water and beer.
Something like that.
Yeah. Let's move on here. Let's move on to this one's interesting. This is dying from a non-explosive decompression. This happens most commonly with divers.
So is it too immature for me to say that when I first read the title, dying from non-explosive decompression, I immediately thought of dying from holding in a fart for too long? That's literally what I thought of. I was like, oh man, I don't want to hold in that fart for too long. My whole insides will explode.
I think you could die from that too. I think if you hold in your farts too much, you'll die. That's the thing.
But just remember, Paul, he who smelt it is the one who dealt it.
Right. Always.
Always and forever.
In every instance.
Exactly.
No, I don't think that's what they mean. I don't think this has anything to do with farts. This is when your body is under an extreme pressure, right?
So it's...
And then rapidly...
coming back up to a surface level.
Right. So what happens a lot of times, it's called the bends when you're diving.
Yes, also known
diver,
as a Radiohead song.
And is that what the Radiohead song's about? Is
yes,
that what they got
it's coincidentally enough, yes.
Okay, all right. That's good on you to know that.
Their early stuff was good. Their early stuff was good.
Radiohead's not bad. I'm not throwing shade. Yeah, so if you go really deep in the water, right? Let's say you're going down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, there you go. You have to come back to the surface at a very slow rate, because what happens is if you come up too fast, little air bubbles form in your blood. And these air bubbles are very painful because they will travel to your joints, they'll travel to your organs, and they'll travel to your brain. And if it's bad enough, you'll fucking die.
Which, as a child, you never think about. Like,
right.
When you go swimming and stuff, like, oh, you swim into the deep end of the pool and you come up too quick, but, like, you're talking several hundred feet. And just the thought of coming up too fast, like, I can imagine, like, I think about being in, like, a shark cage. And then they're just ripping you up, and you're just like, no! And then you just pop like a fucking gusher.
Yeah, right.
And then it's like a straight up like Mortal Kombat fatality. Like there's blood and guts and like bones just flying everywhere.
Yeah, well, that's worst case scenario.
Absolute worst case scenario.
Right. It is possible that if this happens fast enough, if this decompression happens fast enough, it's almost like an explosion. And there's an example in 1938. There were a group of divers diving on an oil rig, and they'd been out doing whatever the fuck they were doing. And as they were coming back into the rig, they went into this chamber. It's a decompression chamber, and they come into this chamber, and then they slowly raise the pressure of this chamber to the point where it's safe for them to then exit into the oil rig where the pressure is stabilized.
Just being a bunch of riggers.
So they get into the decompression chamber, and some fucking schmuck on the inside,
some stew
accidentally pops the handle on the decompression chamber from the inside.
Ugh.
Instantly raising the pressure up to the level it was
full
on the
100%.
Inside of the rig.
Yeah,
and everyone just exploded. Like when they found them, their bodies were ripped apart, like their spine and their organs and it was a massacre.
Could you imagine, like, all right, so it's 1938.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, one of those guys, like what's the last thing that you're thinking about right before your body just blows up from the inside out. Like, oh man, I can't wait to get out of this chamber and take a shit.
You think? As soon as they heard that latch start to move, they just looked at each other like fucking Derek.
He's like, motherfucker, and it's like pop, and you're done.
Yeah. So in that situation, the divers all died. They were ripped apart into a bunch of pieces. And on a lighter note, the moron that opened the hatch, he died too. So
as he fucking should.
It got him.
See, but here's the thing though, like that is like a unlike scaphism, this is more of like an instantaneous death. Like there's no
this
slow,
is almost painless.
Like this is like there's no slow torturous method to it. Like it's just like as soon as that hatch opened up, you're just like fuck, and it's like pop, and you're done.
Yeah. Well, let me be clear. It's almost painless if it happens that way. If it happens the other way, where you come to the surface too quickly and all the bubbles form in your blood, then that is excruciating pain, and you will die a very miserable death.
Also true.
But if we're talking, the situation that happened on this oil rig, where it's like an instantaneous, almost explosive decompression, then yeah, that's definitely a much better way to go than scaphism.
100%.
And even the other ways, but I mean, it's the other way's better than scaphism too, because if you do get the bends to that point where it's going to eventually kill you, you're talking like, I don't know, a couple hours to maybe a couple days.
Yeah, we're not talking.
What did we say? Scaphism took 17 days.
Over 2 weeks of just pure, like, wanting to die.
Right. Just knowing that there's, like, bugs and maggots crawling around inside of you.
While you're covered in your own shit.
Some of you people are into that, but for most of us, that's not great.
Yeah, there's various German websites that you could probably check out that are into that.
I'm sure. The web is deep.
The dark web.
You know what I mean, Jake? All right. Let's move on here to
this. I'm gonna be real honest with you. Dude. This is right up there with me with scaphism.
Yeah. So this is not instantaneous. It's going to be quicker than scaphism, but it still is going to take long enough that you're going to know what the fuck's going on. You're going to feel this one. I hope you're not a witch, Jake, because we're talking about being burned alive.
Come on, baby girl. I'm a ginger. Just because I have no soul doesn't mean I'm a witch.
I feel like there's ginger witches.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure gingers at their beginnings were outcast.
Yeah, wasn't that one bitch in Hocus Pocus had red hair?
You talking about Bette Midler?
Bette Midler. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And let me tell you something right now, and I'm probably going to get a lot of negative feedback about this. Man, fuck Hocus Pocus.
Jake, I'm with you on that one.
Because let me tell you something.
I'm with you. We're standing strong on this.
We're a united front. I don't think Hocus Pocus is that good of a movie, let alone a staple for Halloween.
Listen, if you want a children's witch movie that will scare the fuck out of you and hits all the classic notes, you want The Witches. Do you remember The Witches?
Yeah.
Where they turn the fucking kids into mice and they're running around the hotel?
Oh my god, dude. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That is the movie. Well,
so here's the thing. They're remaking that movie.
What?
And Anne Hathaway is playing lead witch.
All right.
She's the HWIC, man. The head witch in charge.
Okay. All right. If you don't know what that movie is and you're getting upset because we're bad-mouthing Hocus Pocus, maybe you should fucking check yourself.
Yeah, educate yourself.
Send your opinions our way.
So anyhow, being burned alive is fucking
sucks.
Brutal. Obviously, neither one of us have ever experienced that. I've burned myself before, and that's annoying enough as it is. I can't imagine that feeling being over my entire body continuously until I am a charcoal briquette.
Let me tell you something, Jake. When it is like July, August, right, and I have to go outside, I fucking hate that.
It's awful.
That's way too hot for me. Now, I don't know. Like you said, this hasn't happened to either of us, but I imagine that this is probably even hotter than that. You know what I mean?
The only thing I can think about that just makes me realize that this is just awful. Like, could you imagine being burned alive and then your eyeballs are so hot that they pop
and boil?
Yeah, and then you live. Could you imagine? Because you can live through that.
Oh yeah, you could live through your eyes boiling. The problem with being burned alive is that it was never done. You're never just thrown into a fire that's already like raging and it's this quick thing. You're fucking tied to a post.
Yep.
And then they start this little tiny fire. So first it's like, it feels nice on my feet. And then all of a sudden your toes are on fire.
Yep.
And then it's slowly moving up your fucking legs. So it's not like you're on fire, you're dead, that's it. You feel your body slowly melt away.
Like your skin peeling back, your muscles burning, like your organs like becoming crispy inside of you. Like that is, it just sounds so excruciating.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. Fuck, man. Like I'm really okay, so I know this is kind of like a funny haha bullshit podcast. But really think about it. Like think that you were being executed tomorrow in Texas, where, you know, they're a little bit liberal with their death penalties. And they tell you can either be burned alive at the stake or they're going to bring back this cult classic called escapism. Really think about it. Which one are you going to choose?
See, the thing is, it's like I'm going to take being burned alive because I'm going to say for like the first 5 hours of being scaffoldized, nothing's been eaten away yet.
Right, you're just eating milk and honey.
You're just sucking down all this milk and honey, shitting on yourself. Like you're still whole. You're still intact. Nothing's been ripped apart. Nothing's been burnt down to its core yet. But like burned alive, you're done in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I feel like this would be one of those things where I would instantly regret my decision, because I think if I were given the options, my brain would immediately go to, well, if I get burned alive, they're going to set me on fire, and that's going to suck the whole fucking time. At least if I do the other thing, I get to chow down on some honey, hang out in a boat for a little while. But then, once the bugs start and
that's what
all
it is.
you're going to be thinking, I could have been dead by now.
I could have been dead 7 days ago by now.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And in my mind, you always kind of rationalize it like, is there a way for me to escape?
Yeah.
Like, if you're being burned alive, you're stuck to a post, man, you're cooked. Like, it's a wrap for you. But,
Nice.
like, if you're stuck
like
to a boat and they're, like, covering your precious little tummy in honey, you never know. There could be a shot, somebody comes by and says, yo, let me get you out of there.
Cut that line, let you row away.
Exactly.
Your little hands flapping.
Row to freedom. I'm a doggy paddle to freedom.
Yeah. It's a tough call, but listen, we have to make it right now, and I think, all things being considered, I think escapism still comes out on top.
Burned alive is a close number 2, man.
Yeah. So far. All right. Next. Starving to death. Jake, do you have this website pulled up with
I'm
this
looking
list?
right at it.
This fucking kid they use for the starving to death picture. What is this from?
I have no idea. It
I'm
looks
saying,
like it's from like a
this is
really bad B movie. But I'm going to tell you,
it looks like a Lifetime movie. Like a Lifetime movie.
Let me tell you one thing that's never going to happen to me in my lifetime. Starving to death. Your
No,
boy
not
is
to you.
thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am never going to go without a meal.
You could stop eating now.
And I'm good until 2020.
It's going to take years.
Yeah. I'm good until we got another president in office.
I'm gonna save the picture of this weird fucking kid, and I'm gonna put it on the website. So you go to thedepthspodcast.com. You can check out our new logo.
Ooh,
and you can see this
the plug
creepy
with the new
motherfucking
logo. I like it.
I think I'm also gonna. I made some Depths iPad and iPhone wallpapers. So I'm gonna throw those up there. You know, a little something.
There we go. A little something back for the peeps.
You can have that. That's on. That's on me.
That's comp. That's comp for the peeps.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow,
yep.
Starving to death.
Moving on. Starving to death with this creepy fucking kid. So starving to death is what happens when you do not eat any food and your body starts to eat your body.
This is what
technically.
20-year-old college girl goes through. Like, oh my God, I'm just going to, like, stop eating so, you know, Dexter will like me back, okay?
Yeah.
So he'll swipe right on my Tinder, okay?
Dexter.
Or Bryce. Or
Bryce is probably more like it.
Bryce, yeah.
Have you ever met a Dexter?
Not unless it's a Showtime TV show. No, I have not.
That's what I mean. I don't think I've ever met a real person.
Actually, no, I take that back.
Dexter.
I met a Dexter. He was a very nice black gentleman.
All right.
Anywho, what happens to your body when you stop eating? Listen closely, preteen and early 20s women. Your body will become weaker. You'll be more prone to sickness. You will literally become a bag of mush. It's not good.
It's true. It's not good. Nobody wants a bag of mush. Yeah, your body is going to start eating the fat that is stored in your body, and when it's done with that, it's going to start eating away at the muscles and the vital organs, and eventually your heart. So if you don't die from these other things, you'll eventually have a heart attack.
Yep.
Which also sucks. I mean, that's not on this list, but I'm sure that's a shitty way to go.
When you think about it, it sounds kind of funny because it's like you only think about heart attacks happen with heavier set people. But you're putting so much stress on your organs and on your body and your heart by not eating. You're forcing your heart to work 10 times as hard as it normally would. So then your bitch ass goes into cardiac arrest. So
yeah.
Quit being a bitch and eat a meal. How about that?
You little bitch.
Little stupid ass
get.
bitch.
So that's starving to death. I mean, that's pretty basic. It's nothing too exciting.
People that starve to death outside of like people that live in foreign countries that are, you know, poor, impoverished.
Yeah, I think that's typically where it happens.
Man, if you live in
I
America,
don't think people are accidentally starving
to death. You probably deserve it because you're stupid.
That's 100% true. I mean, if you see the amount of food that gets thrown away at any fucking restaurant,
swing by
like
Dunkin'
you could
Donuts
get something
at closing time and reap some serious fucking bennies. Like they will.
Yeah, you buy one donut and they'll give you a fucking dozen.
Exactly. They'll throw us like a giant 55-gallon trash bag of day-old donuts at you, and you could feast like a homeless king.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Moving on.
That's enough of that. Jake, this next one, especially with the type of lifestyle that you live, is a very real possibility for you.
For
it's
me,
something that you really probably do have to be worried about, and that would be being executed in the electric chair.
Who am
actually,
I? Ted Bundy?
Do they still? I mean, I don't know what you're into.
What the? You and I talk almost every day. What do you mean? What I'm into? I'm not into necrophilia. I'm not into releasing a bullshit documentary on Netflix.
Hold on a second. Let's back up. Which documentary are you referring to?
The Ted Bundy tapes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They were lame AF.
Really?
Yes.
I did want to talk to you about Abducted in Plain Sight.
We could do a whole episode on Abducted in Plain Sight.
That slick motherfucker.
Let me tell you something. Ain't no better salesman on this earth than Bob Birchtold.
Nope.
My man bought and sold a whole family for a preteen piece of puss. Like, that dude is something else.
He fucked the whole family.
He fucked the whole family.
In a multitude of ways. We might have to do like a bonus episode.
I think we do. It
we've
just
talked
like
about
a little
this before.
segment on.
We've talked about this before, where we just have these bonus episodes where we talk about documentaries or movies or. It's going to be on the back burner because I think we might have to do it.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
So anywho, being executed in an
that.
electric chair,
Yeah.
pretty fucking awful because there have been people that have survived a round of being electrocuted.
A lot of people have survived. It barely works. It barely works. It's barely an execution method.
I mean,
it's just
that's got to be pretty fucking excruciating, man.
Yeah. So,
like, in my mind, being executed in an electric chair is the equivalent of someone repeatedly kicking you in the dick.
Yeah, like, well, this is a funny one. This is a funny one because if it works, maybe not that bad, right? If you get electrocuted by the electric chair and all goes as well, it probably doesn't even make this list. The problem is it barely works.
Exactly.
Most of the time, these motherfuckers just catch on fire and shake for a while, and then they turn the electricity off, and they're good. I mean, they're not good. They're on fire, but they're not dead.
They're on fire, and they're probably like, they're drooling, and they're like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, if they can form a cognitive sentence. But then they're just like, fuck it, flip the switch again, and they fucking juice them again, and that's when they go straight into baked potato mode.
Yeah, so, right, that's usually what happens, because it's not like, this isn't one of those things where, all right, we're going to give you 30 seconds. If you can withstand it for 30 seconds, you made it out of the round, and you're good. We're going to let you go.
They
just keep fucking doing it.
This is the literal version of the lightning round.
Right. So what happens is when it does finally start to work, your blood begins to boil inside of your veins, and then steam from your blood starts pouring out of every orifice in your fucking body.
Because it cooks all the water, essentially making it evaporate. I don't know how your heart just doesn't pop on impact. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sure that happens sometimes, but it can take up to 10 minutes of being electrocuted for you to actually die this way.
That's a wild ride.
They have to be able to up the voltage. You know what I mean? Just to ensure it a little more. Like, at some point, don't you think like, no, this, whatever, 120 volts isn't cutting the fucking cake. We might have to bump it up a little bit instead of just like this trial and error bullshit.
I'm gonna ask them for some sort of like painkiller cocktail. Like, can you fucking load me up with like Percocet and OxyContin and stuff? That way, like,
why don't you hit me with some of that lethal injection liquid first, and then put me in there and see what gets me first.
Let me get a little sip. Let me just get a little bit, just so I'm like, damn, girl, is this rat poison? Like, I can fuck with this. And then it's like, bap, and it's like straight to microwave cooking.
Right, when they sentence you to death with the electric chair, it's almost like when you're cooking fucking Campbell's soup in the microwave. It's like, hit it for 3 minutes, stick your finger in, see if it's still cold in the center. Yep. Give it some more. Another minute and a half.
You gotta stir it up a little bit and then hit it again.
It seems like they never really perfected the science to electrocution in the electric chair, which is probably why it's been done away with. I don't think anybody does it anymore.
Texas doesn't do it anymore?
I'm not sure. Let's see. Texas does do some wild ass shit.
I'm gonna tell you who does some wild shit, and that's Mexico. Mexico, I do believe, still executes people by firing squad.
Oh yeah, probably. But that doesn't seem like it's that bad of a way to go. I'd rather be executed by a firing squad than
I'd rather be shot by 10 dudes in the head than get electrocuted. Because there's a 95% chance you don't survive that first hit.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But I also don't want to survive that first hit, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be that guy that gets shot in the head and it's like, the fuck is going on? You're bleeding out.
No, so, yeah, I was wrong. It's still used. The most recent execution with the electric chair was December 6th, 2018. Pretty recent. That was 2 months ago. When David Earl Miller was executed in Tennessee. It would be fucking Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah, it would be some Tennessee bullshit.
That is some Tennessee bullshit.
It's still used in Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas. Where you would expect.
Below the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah. Which, hey, listen. We love you guys.
Also,
Kentucky especially. I don't know where Kentucky stands on this, but look, Kentucky, you got our backs, we got your back. I've never been there.
Hey, man, love whiskey.
We're going to change that,
Let us know your thoughts on the use of the electric chair.
Yeah. I think that, honestly, they should bring back the guillotine. I think that if they found the fucking guy that stole your gym bag, chop his fucking head off. Right in the middle of
If
Riding
I
Square.
were to find the guy who stole my gym bag,
And that's the worst way to die.
Straight up street justice. I would cut his balls off.
Oh, wait. Is that 1 for 1?
Yep.
Is that that's street justice?
That's street justice. I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to let you live. I'm cutting your ball bag off, dude.
Yeah.
With like a
you took my bag, I'm taking your bag.
Exactly. Bag for a bag.
A bag for a bag. Where are we at here, Jake? Where are we at? Radiation.
Not gonna lie. Kind of a lame way to die, but at the same time,
it's really
also very painful.
Well, but it's like it's a slow play. You know what I mean?
It's like getting hit with super cancer.
Right. Eventually. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's like all.
It's like the only thing on this list
back in the 80s
that'll eventually
died from,
kill you.
Asbestos poisoning and shit like that. Like
People
it's a long play.
Poisoning. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, what it does is it rips apart your white and red blood cells while they're still circulating inside of you, and it just fucks your immune system up pretty bad, and leads to cancer primarily, like down the road. Usually radiation, I mean, unless it's intense fucking radiation, it can kill you on the spot. I mean, that can happen, and that's probably a shitty way to go, I would guess. But typically, if you're going to die from radiation poisoning, it's like eventually.
I just think of like all those like World War II fallout people that like atom bomb testing and like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, all that shit like that. Like how they just kind of like had to suffer through all that fallout, radiation poisoning, and it's awful what it happened.
It is awful
what it did to people.
You know who else has to worry about this?
Who's that?
If they're not careful, is people that work at like CERN that deal with particle accelerators and.
Oh, no one gives a fuck. Literally. No one gives a fuck about anything involving a particle accelerator. Unless it gives you superpowers, Paul, no one cares.
Can we just take like 20, 30 minutes to just talk about like the Large Hadron Collider?
I'm going to take 20, 30 minutes and ram my fist into your asshole.
It wouldn't take that long.
No.
Okay, so yeah, radiation definitely not going to beat scaphism. It sucks, but it is what it is.
It's not going to beat being set on fire. It's not going to beat being eaten by bugs. It's literally at the bottom rung. And I'm going to tell you something. Suffering from radiation poisoning is, you're probably less likely to die from that than you are being set on fire or drowning or fucking falling into a hole that goes towards the center of the earth, for fuck's sake.
Right. Right. So radiation poisoning is probably one of the most likely on our list because it can happen. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, there's places that you can go to right now that you'll fucking die of radiation poisoning if you go there.
You can hang out
if you go to Chernobyl. Yeah. All right, last but not least here. I feel like we should have went through this list ahead of time and
ended with scaphism.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because we kind of peaked early here, Paul.
We peaked really early. Shame on us. The last one is sleep deprivation, which how does that even happen?
Well, there are people that suffer from insomnia, and I know that's like real thing. Like, I mean, I'm sure, like, you have kids. Like, I'm sure you've had a night or two where you've been up for like 36, 48 hours straight, and just like, you know, wanting to die. But
right.
In order to die from sleep deprivation, like, you have to literally be awake for, what is it, 11 days? 11 days or more. How is that possible?
More. I don't know. I mean, at some point, dude,
you know what it sounds like?
To the store right now and get some fucking Benadryl, and it'll put you on your ass.
It sounds like people that die from sleep deprivation are also the same people that believe that Freddy Krueger is real.
Well, now hold on, because those people do have to worry about that.
That's a real thing. If you live on Elm Street, you might want to watch your ass. Might want to stay awake.
Yeah, because some of those nightmares, dude.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. I know. But what kind of sucks about sleep deprivation is that the longer you're awake, the more your body not only just your mind, but your body starts to take starts to take a toll on your body, and your organs start to fail. Your immune, much like being dehydrated, like your immune system becomes very weak. But what sucks about this is that like your tolerance for pain becomes extremely low. So it's
the longer you're awake, the more shit hurts.
Yeah, like just breathing.
And that's not good when your organs are failing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it does happen, I'm sure. We probably sound like real assholes. I bet it's like a thing that happens, commonplace, and we're just, being way we are about it.
I'll be honest, like sleep, people that suffer, I know a couple people that suffer from insomnia, and it's awful because it's hard to like function due to your day-to-day stuff, like go to work and then be awake and attentive and stuff like that, and then be expected to go home and have a social life and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like, excuse me, but it's just like,
take a fucking nap already.
Yeah, man.
Right? Am I right? Am I fucking right?
Crush a beer to go to sleep.
I can't even watch a half-hour television show without falling asleep. Like I'm gonna die from too much sleep, I think, because I could sit down. I'm not fucking kidding you. I could sit down. I could chug a 20-ounce Red Bull and a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And if I lay on the couch, dude,
it's a wrap.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Once you're comfortable, you're a creature of habit, man. That's what it is.
I guess so. That fucking couch is calling my name right now, dude. I gotta go to work in a couple hours.
Yeah, that's fucking beat.
It's tough, dude. It's a tough life I'm living here. So that's the last one on this list officially. Jake, do you have any other? Have you thought of maybe the worst way to die?
Like,
before escapism came into your life?
Well, my life before escapism was, I'm going to say it was a very #blessed one.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. I feel like being ejected from a car and like hitting like a telephone pole head on, that would be a shitty way to die.
Yeah, that's not going to be great.
Being impaled by a giant sheet of glass, a la the movie Ghost, like that would suck. And then being dragged to the depths of the underworld by ghosts, that would suck.
Great. Not great, right?
Drowning. Why isn't drowning on this list? Drowning just sounds fucking awful.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
So I have one. I have one, and I think it is, aside from some of this medieval shit like escapism,
yeah,
it would have to be the worst. So where I work, we use forklifts, Jake, and the average forklift, just so you know, weighs around 9,000 pounds. That's pretty fucking heavy. I think like a car weighs 4,000 on average.
Yes.
Right. So this video was brought to my attention, right? This guy is driving a forklift. I don't know where this was. It was some Asian country. That's all I could tell. But it was like a surveillance footage. So all you could really tell was that these were Asian people. This guy starts to go down this embankment with the forklift.
Okay.
And the ass end raises up off the ground. So you know what I mean? So the forks hit the ground. The ass end is up in the air.
Okay. So it's almost like doing a reverse wheelie.
And this fucking woman sees it happening and goes, I'm going to save the day. And she fucking grabs the back of the forklift that's up in the air and tries to pull it down. She tries to pull this. She thinks that she's going to be able to pull down this 9,000 pound fucking forklift.
Oh, my God.
And she slips, lands under the forklift.
Oh, no.
And then the forklift counters itself and comes down on top of her. Here's the problem, dude. Here's why this sucks so bad. The video cuts off. You don't see what happened. I know what happened. The other thing with forklifts is there's about, I don't know, I would say 1.5 inches of clearance between the forklift and the ground. So not a lot of wiggle room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not many people are 1.5 inches thick. She was after that. But her head is out, right? Her head wasn't under it. So it's gonna those people. It's just her screaming like, "Hey, get this thing off me!" And they're going, "It weighs 9,000 pounds. We can't."
Yeah, we're a team of a couple people. We can't lift that much.
Yeah, the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to imagine how the rest of that day went. Not great for anyone. I'm assuming.
I'm assuming she died.
She had to have, dude. I don't know. I mean, like I said, the video cuts off. You don't get to see what actually happens, but. Yeah, next time, if you're ever around a forklift, to death
by something,
look at the clearance between a forklift and the ground. I'm not kidding you. Maybe it's 2 inches tops.
Yeah. No, I used to work in a warehouse. Like, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Like, that's minimal amount of room there.
So for me, that would be the worst way, and that is something that could definitely I mean, I'm around forklifts almost every day. I would never ever try to pull one out of the air like I'm some kind of fucking superhero. But I guess, in her defense, when something like that happens, you look over and see it. You just, I guess, try to do anything you can to help. But
yeah, I mean, in that way, it's like a fleeting moment type of thing where all you want to do is be able to help somebody out.
Oh,
but
it was fleeting.
You also have to understand you gotta use your noodle, man. Not literally, but be smart about helping people out.
Be smart. So Jake, I have another list here. This is, I guess, I don't know what Ranker is. I guess Ranker is, they do articles, but then they also have lists that people can vote on the list, and the list will adjust accordingly.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So they have another list here, and it's just the worst ways to die, and it's a bunch of shit, a bunch of terrible ways to die, and people can vote whether they think it is good or bad, and will adjust.
Okay.
So let's go over a couple that we missed here, because there are some on this list. Actually, number 1 was not on our list, and number 1 is a slow dismemberment. And a slow dismemberment, yeah, I think that'd be pretty bad. Yeah.
That really falls along the lines of just excruciating pain.
Well, plus it's not just that. I mean, if you're being slowly dismembered, then I guess 9 times out of 10, there's going to be somebody else involved in that dismemberment. You know what I mean? So it's not only you being dismembered, it's one of those psychological saw situations where you're tied to a fucking chair and they're just cutting your fingers off, and then your
that was going to be my question. When you say dismemberment, is that I'm pulling your limb off, or is that I'm cutting your limb off? Because
it could be. I mean, dismemberment is whatever. I mean, pulling would be worse than cutting, I think.
Yeah, because I feel cutting is more concise and more swift, but pulling it off, it's oh man, because you never know what else is going to come with it. Right. That's pretty brutal.
It is brutal. I'll tell you what, man. This one may rival scaphism. So with scaphism, at least you know what the fuck's going on. This is going to end pretty quick. Not quick, but it's going to come to an end. But how about, Jake, if you woke up and you had been buried alive?
My anxiety, I'm pretty sure I would have died of a heart attack.
Right. Well, you're probably right. And I'm sure people have. And the scariest thing about this is not that long ago, within the past 100, 200 years, this was a very real fear.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the grave bells?
I have not.
So they used to, and again, this is from 100 to 200 years ago. When they would bury somebody, they would put a bell next to the tombstone, and the bell would go down a shaft into the coffin in case you woke up in your coffin. Because, the medical community has grown a lot in the last couple of years. Back then, they weren't always 100% when someone was dead. They would declare people dead who were in a coma or just sleepy.
Yeah.
And then they wake up in a coffin, buried alive. So yeah, they actually, there were so many instances of them digging up coffins and there being claw marks on the inside where the people were woken up and tried to get.
What an awful thing to wake up to after you come home from a boozy brunch.
Yeah, right.
You
you
have
fall asleep
a couple,
on the couch.
One too many mimosas, out with some friends. You do a little, chicken and waffles, and next thing you know, you wake up in a dirt ditch. And you wake up in a box waiting to die.
Jay, can I Can I make a business proposition to you?
Sure.
You and I, we should open a restaurant called Mimosas and Samosas.
Yes.
Have you ever had a samosa?
I have not.
It's the little like Indian pastry filled with whatever. It's usually
exactly
like potato and stuff.
I've just never had one.
Oh my dude, they're so good.
Dude.
And it rhymes with mimosa. It's $1 million idea.
Basic 20-something-year-old women would come just because it rhymes.
Oh, dude, and you get the waitresses to dress up in the like the fucking classic like Indian garb, the real bright, colorful.
Oh my god, I can see like the amount of.
It would be an event, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be an event. Have hookahs on the fucking table. Oh, Jake,
dude, we might have hit a gold mine here.
What are we doing? Listen, all you motherfuckers that are eavesdropping on our conversation right now, butt out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Don't go ahead and just get on out.
Think about it.
Dude, I'm into it.
Copyright, trademark. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Drawn and quartered, that would suck. That's
well, you did. If you think about drawn and quartered, then you got to think about the old Iron Maiden.
There's they had their ways back then,
dude. As far as punishment goes, medieval times, like they really just kind of like defined what it was for, to punish someone. Like, could you imagine being thrown in essentially a sarcophagus full of spikes?
Yeah.
And they're just long enough not to kill you, but to make you bleed out until you die.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great at all. How about this one? How about flaying? That was a thing they used to do. They would flay people. And flaying is exactly what you think it is. They just cut you down the middle and spread you out.
Blech.
Yeah,
medium
not great.
rare, baby girl.
I'm gonna go through a couple of these real quick. We got shark attack. We touched briefly on that one. That would not be
great.
But
it's so uncommon.
Yeah, you just punch him in his big fucking nose. And
fuck those sharks! I'd uppercut a shark right in its fucking eye.
Now this one's interesting. Being murdered by your own children. I guess it being by your own children kind of changes the game. I guess
it's possible if you're fucking the parent of the Menendez twins.
Yeah. Iron Maiden, that's on here.
There you go.
Attacked by a bear, that's not great. Have you seen the documentary where the dude? Oh man, I have to figure out what it's called because it is unbelievable. This motherfucker used to go out in Alaska into like the Alaskan wilderness, and he would just fucking hang out with grizzly bears. And he's like, they love me. Like he was like the grizzly bear whisperer. I don't want to spoil how it ends, but you can probably guess.
Well, I mean, you can just watch The Revenant, or you can watch the movie The Edge with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins to see what it's like to be attacked by a bear. Both movies are very graphic about what it's like to be mauled by a GD bear.
Yeah, so it's called Grizzly Man, and it's by Werner Herzog. It's like a legit documentary. I would recommend it. I mean, you fuck with the bear, you're gonna get the bite. You know what I mean?
That's what it comes down to, man. I would look. I love bears, but the last thing I'm ever gonna do is fuck with a bear in its natural habitat. Just like a bear is not gonna come fuck with me in my natural habitat. It's just like, yo, man, I won't fuck with that guy because I don't want him to fuck with me.
You don't see many bears on Lincoln Street.
No.
Well, in this documentary, the worst part about this documentary is the guy filmed everything. So at the end, he ended up taking his girlfriend with him to this fucking bear island, right? And they're waiting.
Bear island? Is it an island full of burly gay men, or is it actually?
It's this spot in it's a spot in Alaska that you can only get to by like brush plane. It's like where it's where the Butcher Baker was doing his thing, right?
Yes.
You get dropped off. He would get dropped off, and he'd be like, "All right, just come get me in like 5 weeks."
Old Rob Hansen,
dude, I'm not kidding you. He would be like, "Listen, I'll meet you back at this spot in 5 weeks. Meet me here." So the one time he takes this girl with him, they're waiting to be picked up. Right, it's like the last day of the trip. He has the camera set up, and a fucking grizzly bear shows up, and this one's not as friendly as he thinks they are. And apparently, you don't get to hear the tape. There was no footage. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the lens cap was on or whatever, but you hear he gets attacked by the bear, and as he's being eaten, he's yelling to the chick that he's with to run for her life, and she's not having it. Like she tries to like hit the bear with a frying pan, and then you hear her getting mauled. And they let Werner Herzog listen to the audio, and he's like, "This is the worst thing I've ever heard. This tape should be destroyed, and no one should ever hear it again." And they never play the fucking tape. You never get to hear it.
Stupid.
Yeah, but it's a good documentary. I ruined it, but come on, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah.
Being eaten alive, that wouldn't be great by like a fucking
Cannibal
tiger or a lion. Murdered by a chainsaw is on the list. That seems oddly specific.
I mean, yeah.
Wouldn't be
oddly
great.
Specific.
Devoured by starving dogs. Kind of goes back to eating
How about
alive.
getting your penis eaten by Armin Mavis?
Not great. Not great. There's only one person that knows how that goes.
Not exactly
He's not around
ideal,
to tell
right?
about it. Yeah, some of these are getting. I think that's it. I think we.
How about
hypothermia.
getting a finger shoved in your ass so hard you fucking die? You never know.
You know, it could happen. It could happen. Stabbed by a stingray. Rest in peace,
there it
Steve
is.
Yep. All right. Well, this episode's kind of tapered off, but it was fun while it lasted, Jake, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man. We're here for the laughs. We're here for the giggles.
And you know where else we are? We're on Instagram, Jake. Tell them about it.
Check us out on Instagram at Depthscast. And I am on Instagram at Jake Lotz. Paul is on Instagram at Breeden Nuclear. We have a Gmail account. It's thedepthscast@gmail.com. We are on Spotify, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube. A lot of different avenues for you to listen to us. Please,
we're all over the place.
Click, subscribe, leave a 5-star, leave a review for God's sake. Tell us what you think.
Hey. I do want to say, too, an issue was brought to my attention. So a lot of you people may know friends that listen to their podcasts on Podcast Addict. It's an app for Android. It's a pretty popular podcast app. If you want to find our podcast on Podcast Addict, when you go to the search bar, there's a little checkbox under the search bar that says include Apple iTunes podcast or something along those lines. You have to click that checkbox, and it'll then pull our podcast from the iTunes library.
There we go.
We are on Podcast Addict. You just have to make it search the iTunes library as well. But yeah, hey, listen, thanks everyone for the support. I was talking to Jake. The podcast, it's grown steadily every month. Last month we had probably one of the biggest spikes in downloads since we started, and you guys are fucking awesome.
Yep. Everybody out there that listens to us may get a personalized Christmas card next year from Paul and I.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Stickers are on the way. We're gonna get stickers made. If you want stickers, just give it a minute. We'll probably get them up on the website somehow, some way. But they're on the way. All right, that's enough rambling. That's it for this episode.
Don't die.
Don't die, especially any of the ways that we talked about. Maybe sleep deprivation. But you'll be able to get a lot of shit done before you go.